How to learn pronunciation. On Wednesday, I go to school again. There is one student in the class who is quieter than the other students. He is from South Korea. When our teacher asks if we have any questions for her, this student from Korea says that he has a question. He says that he has a big problem with pronunciation. He knows that his pronunciation is not very good, but he doesn't know how to improve it. He doesn't speak much because he doesn't want others to listen to his bad pronunciation. He says that he reads and watches films in English a lot. He understands very well, but he also wants to improve his speaking. He asks if there is something he could do to improve his pronunciation. When my teacher hears this, she says, "Okay, I will tell you something about pronunciation and how to practice it. I will also teach you a great technique that can help all of you to be better at pronunciation. First, we have to look at why students have problems with pronunciation. When we speak, we have to move our mouth. We have to use muscles in our mouth. We all do that. The problem is that when you speak English, sometimes you use your muscles the same way you would use them in your native language. Then your pronunciation is different from the pronunciation of native speakers. This happens to many students who learn English. Almost everybody has a bit different pronunciation than they should have. In fact, it is not a big problem because usually people understand what you want to say, even though your pronunciation is not perfect. However, you can work on your pronunciation and make it better. There is a great technique that can help you a lot. The name of this technique is shadowing. The technique is very simple. When you do shadowing, you simply copy the sound that you hear immediately after hearing it. When children learn their first language, they learn it by copying. They copy after their parents again and again until their pronunciation is perfect. You can learn English pronunciation in the same way. This is what you can do. Take some video or audio recording that is not very fast and that you understand very well. You listen and you copy what you hear when you hear it. That is all. Then our teacher tells us, shadowing is also good when you are preparing for a presentation you have to give in English, and you want to have your pronunciation as close as possible to the pronunciation of native speakers. Before the presentation, you can go to some place where you are alone, and you can do shadowing for about 10 minutes. You will see how much it will help you to have better pronunciation during the presentation. This is very interesting for me. I haven't heard about this technique before. When the lesson finishes, I go to the school reception. I ask the lady if there are any sport activities at school. I would like to play some sport in England. The lady at the reception says, "Yes, we have a table tennis team and a football team. The football team has training today at 5 o'clock. I am very happy because sport is very important in my life. I go to the training of the football team. I meet a lot of players from different countries. The players are from Brazil, Japan, Russia, Spain, Argentina, and Italy. I like the training. I am very happy that my time in England starts well. I have a great teacher. I also have some new friends from my football team. Also, tomorrow I'm starting my job. When you want to have good pronunciation, repeat after native speakers." Lesson 6. How to test your English. It is Monday again, and I go to my school. Our teacher asks us what we did during the weekend. I say that I was at work on Saturday. I say that I can already do my work quite well. I say that I am happy when I can speak to our customers. When I speak, one of the girls in the class asks me, "What happened to your voice? You sound very different from what we heard last week. Your pronunciation is very good." I smile and I say, "Thank you. I tried to do shadowing on Saturday evening after my work and for all of Sunday. I tried to speak like a native speaker. I know that it is still not perfect, but I also noticed a big change in my pronunciation." Our teacher asks if anybody else tried to practice shadowing. 3 students raise their hands. One of them is the student from South Korea. He also likes this technique. One student says that she tried the technique, but her mouth hurt a lot after 5 minutes of shadowing and she had to stop. She also says that she wasn't always able to repeat everything. Sometimes it was hard for her to keep up with the speed of the recording. Our teacher says, "Thank you for trying out this technique. If you do shadowing for the first time and your mouth hurts after 5 minutes, it means that you are doing it correctly. Your muscles need to be trained to this new way of speaking. It is like going to the gym for the first time. Your muscles can hurt if they are not trained. If your mouth's muscles hurt, you can take a break after 5 minutes and continue a bit later. With every 5 minutes of practice, your pronunciation should be a little bit better." Shadowing has also other advantages. You practice the correct pronunciation in English, and you also practice other things such as intonation, rhythm, and connecting words in whole sentences. I know that at the beginning, the recording can sometimes be too fast. If this happens, you can repeat only the first or the last word in the sentence. With practice, you will be able to repeat more. I agree that it is true. On Saturday, when I started with shadowing, it was quite difficult for me. Yet by Sunday evening, it was quite easy to repeat what I heard. Our teacher asks other students if they know how many words they know in English. It is interesting to see that nobody knows. We know that we are intermediate students, but we don't know how many words we know. I want to know how many words I know. I do the test immediately. I see that I know 2,100 words in English. Most of the students know between 2,000 and 2,200 words. Only Monica and the boy from South Korea know 2,500 words. Lesson 7. How to handle mistakes. On Tuesday, I go to school again. One student asks our teacher an interesting question. She says, "I would like to practice speaking with people around me, but I am afraid of making mistakes. I don't want to look stupid. Can you help me?" Our teacher says, "Making mistakes is a very interesting topic. There are a lot of opinions on it. I want to show you what I believe is the best approach. I have a lot of experience with this because I also learnt new languages. I still continue doing it. For example, now I am learning Spanish. When I speak Spanish, I don't care if I make mistakes or not. The reason why I don't care about mistakes is simple. When I learnt my native language, I didn't care about making mistakes either, so why should I care now? My main goal when I use any language is to express my ideas. That is all. I know that when I read a lot, speak, and do shadowing, my Spanish will be better and better. I know that this can sound incredibly simple, but it is my opinion. This is what I have found after many years of both teaching and learning languages. It works very well for me and many of my students. When I speak, I only concentrate on speaking. At the moment, I know 1,500 words in Spanish. It is the level of a 2-year-old child. 2-year-old children make a lot of mistakes when they speak, but they don't care about their mistakes. They continue using their native language, and when they are 3 years old, they make very few mistakes, and when they are 4 years old, they already speak very well with hardly making any mistakes. You should have the same attitude. Now, most of you know about 2,000 words, so it is absolutely okay to make mistakes time to time. When you continue using English, there will be fewer and fewer mistakes in your speaking. It is not possible to get better without making mistakes. When you practice English, it is okay not to be perfect. Perfection comes with practice. Anybody who started to learn English started from the beginning, from the same level, which is level 0. Learning languages is like learning to play a musical instrument. It needs to be trained. When you start your training, it is not perfect at first, and you make mistakes. It is normal. Take it as a necessary part of your learning process. If you didn't go through this period of making mistakes, you could not get to higher levels. By continuing to do what you want to learn, the mistakes are gradually being eliminated. If you want to make fewer and fewer mistakes, do a lot of reading and shadowing. When you read, you can read aloud. It can also help you make fewer mistakes. In real conversations, care only about exchanging ideas. Don't care about making mistakes. When you speak, you practice changing your thoughts into words. You don't learn grammar or words. You have other activities for that. Don't worry. Everybody who learns a foreign language makes mistakes from time to time, even famous people, bosses of big companies or politicians. When you listen to these people on TV, you see that they don't care about mistakes. They care about what is important, and that is expressing their ideas. You should do the same. Does it make sense? The girl says, "Yes, thank you." If you don't want to make mistakes, do a lot of reading and shadowing. You need to train your ears to this accent as well. What happened to you can happen to everybody. When you already speak English at some level and you go to a country where people speak with a different accent, you shouldn't be surprised if you don't understand. It is okay, and it usually takes 2 weeks to get used to this new accent. Don't think that there is something wrong with you when you don't understand a new accent. With practice, you can train your ears to any accent. Then I ask, "So what can I do to understand the Scottish accent? I don't live in Scotland." Our teacher says, "You can watch films with Scottish English, or you can watch situation comedies from Scotland, and soon you can understand." I tell her, "Thank you." After school, I go to my work again. At about 4 o'clock, 2 interesting customers come to our cafe. This time, they are not from Scotland. They are foreigners. They want to buy some coffee. They are 2 ladies, and it is clear that their English is very basic. My boss is serving them. When she hears that they don't speak English very well, she does something very interesting. She changes her English. She uses very simple sentences with only 3 or 4 words. I can see that the ladies understand her. They buy 2 coffees, 2 sandwiches, and 2 cakes. They are happy, and my boss is happy too. When the ladies leave, I tell my boss that it was very nice how she changed her English so that the 2 ladies would understand her. My boss says that sometimes she has to speak in very simple English. It doesn't matter if the customers speak English well or not. They are our customers, and we have to do everything possible to make them feel comfortable. If they see that they can speak English here, they can come to our cafe every day. I think that our boss is a good businesswoman. She does everything possible to make our customers happy. It is true that we have a lot of customers. Our cafe is busy every day. Lesson 16. How to speak fluently. On Monday, I go to school again. Our teacher asks us how Friday's school party was. One student says that the party was great, We had a lot of drinks and a lot of fun. The girls from our class enjoyed the party as well. I enjoyed the party a lot because Sophia was there. I could talk to her, and we danced together. It was all very nice. There were also 2 boys from my football team at the party. These boys were from Brazil. Their English was simple. They could speak only in short sentences, but they were extremely funny at the party. They made a lot of jokes about life in England, about other players from our team, and about girls from their class. Everybody laughed. Their sentences were very short with only 3 or 4 words, but they were able to speak fluently. When we speak about the party, I tell my teacher, it was really interesting to see that somebody who doesn't know many words can already speak fluently. I know some students who are at a much higher level and have a hard time speaking. My teacher says, this is really interesting. I can tell you that the 2 boys from your football team showed you what all students should do. The boys used what they knew. They cared only about what was really important. It was communication. Then one girl asks, so what should we do if we want to speak English fluently? Should we go to parties and make jokes? My teacher says, first, let me explain what fluent speaking is. Many students think that fluent speaking is fast speaking with a lot of words and perfect grammar. But there is a better, more correct definition of fluent speaking. Fluent speaking is speaking without long pauses. Some people can do it at 1,000 words, some people can do it at 2,000 words, but there are also people who know 3,000 words and aren't able to speak fluently. If you want to speak fluently, you have to practice speaking. There is no other way to improve your fluency. Speaking is a physical activity. It is like playing a musical instrument. If you want to play a violin, you need to train the connection between your brain and the muscles on your fingers. When you want to speak well, you need to train the connection between your brain and the muscles in your mouth. If the connection between your brain and your mouth is not often trained, you can't speak fluently no matter how many words you know. You can't complain that you can't speak fluently if you don't practice speaking often. You can have this experience. You meet a foreigner who wants to speak with you in English. You want to say ideas which are in your head, but you aren't able to do it. You can't find the right words. Then, when you end the conversation and play it back in your head, you realize that you actually know the right words, but the conversation is already finished. Why do you experience such situations? Because you have little training. Your speaking isn't automatic. It is not automatic because you don't practice it often enough. When you want to speak fluently, I recommend speaking for at least 30 minutes a day. You can speak to a real person. If you don't have a real person to speak to, you can do thinking aloud. It is necessary to really think aloud and not only think in your head. You need to practice the connection between your brain and your muscles. You can do this by thinking aloud. Does it make sense? Yes, says the girl.